Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to the Community Conversation brought to you by Prototype Training Systems, home of CrossFit Prototype. The Community Conversation highlights a different member, or now members, of the Prototype community each week and allows them to tell their story, share their life experience, and communicate their perspective on all things fitness. We've all listened to podcasts and watched YouTube videos that highlight some of the world's greatest leaders, visionaries, and these people also walk amongst us. We believe we have some amazing people at Prototype, and we want you to get to know them. So to that end, I want to introduce you to our fifth and sixth guest, Todd and Peg Kinsman. Todd and Peg have been part of the Prototype community here for, going on 8 years. We'll validate what that is in a minute. They recently won our 2020 Community Member Power Couple Award as our new member here in 2020, new award, I say, in 2020. They're residents of Westboro. They've got a pack of black labs. And they're just two of the best people that we have in our community. So I think a lot of people are really going to be excited about this community conversation today. So Todd and Peg, thank you guys for being part of the community conversation.
Thanks for having us, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome. So Todd and Peg, like I mentioned, you guys have been listening to these a little bit. Let's tell us your story. Tell the listeners your story. Where did you guys, grow up? How did you guys get involved in CrossFit? What was your fitness background? Start wherever you guys would like.
Okay, I guess I'll start. So I am a Westboro townie. I grew up in Connecticut for my first 10 years, but moved to Westboro when I was 10 years old. So back in 1975. Didn't get too far. Went to Babson College in Wellesley, moved back to this area. I've been working in the area. And Todd and I live now in Westboro since 1994. So I love it. The town has changed, but being part of CrossFit has been great for me because it's really connected me back to the community. Why don't you say where you grew up and then we can go from there.
Sure. So I grew up in Concord, Mass, and met Peggy obviously at Babson. So we went to school together and met there. Grew up playing a lot of hockey. So from a sports perspective, hockey was a big part of my life. And so, we, as Peggy said, we moved to Westboro. We have two boys who still live with us, Andy and Jack. And so Andy was born in 93. And then soon after that, we moved here to Westboro. Jack was born in 96. And so like Peg said, we've been in Westboro the whole time since then. And to Michael's point is I joined, I was the first one to join the gym. So I think it was either the end of December of 2012 or beginning of January 2013. Joined it, and I think it was like there was a special WOD had going on for Lizzie Marriott, and so I came one morning and just showed up and started working out. So I've been in the gym a long time.
What's interesting is like I always played sports growing up. And in high school, like my main sport was volleyball, and then I played 4 years in college. And so, and Todd had played hockey. So we had always had a lot of athletic sort of things going on. Then like your real life takes over with like full-time jobs and kids and houses. And we were off and on sort of like, sometimes I did the Y, I did curves for a little while. Todd did P90X down in the basement. We were always, it was like a comfortable spot for us because we had always been sort of like athletes growing up. So then, but the kids were getting older and Todd was looking for something to do, talked to his friend at work, and John told him like, oh, I'm doing this thing called CrossFit. So that's why Todd looked into it.
What the hell's CrossFit?
And started. And he said to me, do you want to go? And I was like, no, I'm not interested. That's going to be your thing, Todd. You go in and do that. And then about after 6 weeks, when he was like loving it and coming home and talking about it all the time, and I started to get like almost like jealous-ish.
Pissed.
Yeah, and I was just like, wait.
FOMO, that's right.
Yeah, FOMO or MOFO, as my girlfriends at CFP will tell you. And anyway, so I came in and did the onboarding classes, and I think that was like February of 2013. And then we just have never stopped going since. It's been awesome.
It was funny. I remember telling Peggy the story because I'm like, I have to warn you, when you get there, like everybody's going to be super nice. And you're almost going to be like in the real world, people aren't that nice, so like, you're almost like, you're like, what the hell's wrong with this person? Why are they talking to me? Why are they being nice to me or whatever? And I said, you gotta take a little bit to get used to it. People are just really nice when you get into the gym. It's just a totally different vibe.
Yeah.
And so that was the thing, that hooked me was the working out. And then, I mean, I think of most of our friends right now are CFP people. Those are the people we hang out with most, we talk to most. So that's our connection.
Yeah, the other thing that's interesting for me is, so we started CFP and then we had some personal stuff going on with one of our children, and it wasn't good. It was bad. CFP became this place for me, Michael, where I was safe, safe in the way that you could come in. I could let all of that shit go. I didn't have to worry about it for 1 hour every day. I could just focus on, I didn't really even have to focus. I just had to do what you guys told me to do. And it's one of the things that it was life-saving for me. And the people there that were so kind, I'm a true believer in everything happening for a reason, good, bad, ugly. My problem is I want to know the reason why. You don't always get that. But the timing of it all was not coincidental in my point of view. It happened because I was going to need that kind of support to help me get through this other thing that was going on in my life. And thank God for it, because it did. It got me through it. Anything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You come out the other side, you get burned by the fire, but you're stronger for it. And CFP was a big part of that for me. And I still get emotional talking about it, even here today.
And you got to meet that coach, Sean.
Yeah. I called Brian Sean for the first 6 weeks, and he said to me, "Hey lady," and I called him Sean.
Hey lady.
Anyway,
that
was the start. That was the start of our CFP journey.
So that's the start. What has kept you guys going? Because I have to tell you that you guys have also, I don't know if you guys have them, but you guys have done each over 1,000 workouts.
Yeah.
At the gym.
Oh, my cup is out.
Two of the 30 or 31 people that are in that bucket. What kept you coming back? You guys have created this as a lifestyle routine, and for the majority of people doing anything, it's do something for a little bit, stop. Maybe they come back, do something a little bit, stop. But you guys have been consistent, some of the most consistent people doing this. What kept you going?
You go.
Well, one thing is a little bit, it's Peg. Peg is a super disciplined person. So, and has a structure to things. And so when we started having kids, I think one of the things you first learn with kids is that structure is really important. And so Peggy's just really good at that. She's just always waking up, and probably the reason why she's friends with Lisa Z, because Lisa Z is the same way, which is structure and discipline and so forth. And so for me, there are times probably when the alarm goes off, at 3:55, that I'm thinking, all right, I don't have to go. And some days I don't actually, but Peggy is just going to go. So she's just super disciplined. So I think that's one thing. I think the other is that I always think of CFP. I always think of CrossFit as gym class. I just think it's I love gym. And so I love going to the gym. And so, and then I think it's the social part. And, Mike, a lot of this has to do with the environment that you've created, Brian, others, coaching staff and so forth that have created with CFP. Is that you're always trying to get better. You always talk about this, Michael, growth mindset and so forth. And so a lot of the values and principles that CFP has are the values and principles Peggy and I have as a family.
Yeah. And
it's interesting, it's the same values I have at the company I work at. So it just feels right when we're there. And the social part is a huge part of it, because our friends are there, and so you're going to get to see people. And right now with COVID, some people you don't get to see.
Yeah.
So people are in and out, and so it's a little bit hard. But I think it's a lot of different things. It's not a single thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say for me, by far, it's the social part. It's my group of friends, the coven, the badasses. I mean, sometimes I do stop and I just say out loud to everyone there, it's how lucky are we that we get to start our day off just hanging out with our friends and laughing. And we do a lot. And poor John Collette, sorry, John, and now Sam, they have to put up with our shenanigans, but And so that for me is number one. But the other thing that's amazing is I'm going to be 56 in June. I'm probably in the best physical shape of my entire life. And I want to keep that going. Like, I want to be in a place when I retire from work that I can do everything I want to do physically. I want to be able to walk really far and travel and maybe have a second career and all of that. And I just see the health and wellness of it being at the core. And I don't want to believe in like getting older means you're getting worse. I don't, I got 2 PRs this week actually. And I'm like, yes, I'm not going downhill yet. At some point I will, but it hasn't happened yet. So I love that feeling too, that I get to get at Prototype.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
just so honest. You guys are just literally just spilling your guts. I love it. So routine, structure, values, the social component. An outsider looking in, like, and again, we don't need to say on this topic, but an outsider looking in, right? They might drive by the gym. You guys might not know, a lot of people have driven by the gym for 2 years and have been like, oh, I've always wanted to step in here, but I've always been intimidated, or I've felt like I can't do that, or whatnot. What have you told, or how do you tell people about like what you do in there? And, you know, I guess like, you know, how does that conversation go?
So I have this thing, I don't want to be that CrossFitter who talks about CrossFit, so I try not to talk about it. So if somebody asks me, I'll tell them. But and so Michael's like, oh God, this is shitty for my business stuff. Why are you doing this? But like, I'm joking. But like, so like you were saying, we're kind of spilling our guts. It's like, well, this is the first time I really get to talk to somebody about CrossFit, because I try not to talk to people about CrossFit. I try not to tell people at work what I do.
The worst CrossFitter, Todd.
Yeah. It's like, just continue talking about CrossFit. Like, I don't want to do that.
And so it's so funny. I, of course, and this is typical of Todd and I in a relationship. I'm way over here where, because I think it's so great and so much fun, and like what it's done for me physically and mentally, I want to, like, people who I know that I like, I want to tell them about it. I'm like, you've got to try this. And Todd sometimes will be giving me the, okay, Peg, that's good. Whatever. You don't have to talk about it. I will. But the thing I do talk about is people are like, oh, I could never do that. And I'm like, oh, yes, you can. Every single person can do it. It's all scalable, and you can modify it. And if you go to a CrossFit and they don't do that for you, then that's not the place for you to go to. You know, the coaches should be really involved in helping you with that, because that's the other thing. We've been there for a long time, and we have gotten that kind of guidance and help along the way. So that's what I tell them.
We got our niece. People. We got our niece in the CrossFit, so she's now doing
it. Katie Kens, Lisa Kinsman, Dee does it. Yeah. I mean, our family for sure. We talk about it. It's Jessup, funny. Yeah, Jessup does it. Yeah. People are like, "Oh, I couldn't do that." I'm like, "Yes, you can. Every single person could do it." Yeah, and it would be life changing.
I love that. So you guys,
sorry,
since you guys have been here so long, you guys have created a lot of relationships, good relationships. You're part of like this 5 a.m. early morning workout crew. You have all these good relationships and friends now. What's your favorite memory so far? And you guys, you know, probably take a second to think about it, and, you know, it might come up, you know, organically. It doesn't have to be one, but like, what's been your favorite memory / like an experience that a lot of people might not necessarily think would happen at a gym?
I'm sorry, Doug. I have one. I mean, I have a lot, but the one that just popped right into my mind is it was during the CrossFit Games. And you know how we judge each other when the workouts go on. So Friday mornings, and Todd and I go at 5 a.m. because we go early. And so Lisa and I, a lot of time, Lisa Zantzwitz and I will end up judging each other. And I remember being so mad. Hold on a second. Come on.
The dog is chewing a bone right now. It's quite loud.
Yeah.
That was
sorry. Lisa Zantzwitz and I, the workout was pull-ups in the scaled division. And I was like, are you kidding me? That's not scaled. Scaled should be jumping pull-ups. And I was mad. And so we came in, and Lisa's like, listen, Peg, all you have to do is just try one. That's all you have to do is just try one. She was trying to be. And so I was like, all right, Lisa, I was like beside myself. So I get up there and I do a pull up and she's like, oh, that's so good. That's so good. Okay, now try another one. Now try another one. And we kept going. And I ended up doing 17 in the pull. And I'm sure they were really ugly. But Lisa was there and cheering me on and talked me into getting started on the whole thing. And we still laugh about that because it's like, remember that time? And we're like, yeah, I remember that time. So it's also a good memory because you don't know what you're capable of. And then that's another thing you can get at CrossFit is like you can push yourself and try something until you do get it. And you don't get that opportunity a lot as an adult. You don't have a tendency, I don't have a tendency to push myself out of my comfort zone. So when people are nervous about doing the games, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. I still get nervous every year. And it doesn't, I don't know why I'm not going to regionals or anything, but yeah, I just like that memory. That was a good one.
That's like the best memory. Your first pull-ups. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was cool.
I think for me, I don't think they're like specific memories. They're kind of like
Could be
times.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think they're like different times. So like for me is like I love our summer party.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
So like it's a lot of work, and especially you've just done like 4 workouts and you're completely gassed, and it's 95 degrees, and I'm standing in front of the grill trying to cook, hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff.
It's hard to hold your arms up because you're so
yeah, it's like you're like, oh my god, and you just worked out with Caitlin, who just carried you through partner Fran. But like I love the party, and I love having everybody come over, and it's just amazing that all these people come together and we have that whole thing. Saturday mornings are also awesome.
Yeah, partner workouts.
A lot of people, the partner workout's one of my favorite because you get to rest. But but like, which is like,
but there's different people at Saturdays too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Saturday is like you get to see people you don't see. So a lot of the people that are evenings and stuff or afternoons that we don't see in the morning, I get to see. So like the Saturday mornings are some of my favorite. Like the way the sun comes in on a Saturday morning through the front windows or whatever, and everybody's working out, and it's just. You just leave starting your weekend off like the best way possible. So you feel great. And so those are not specific ones, but just like every Saturday, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's true.
How is like, so you guys have gotten incredibly fit, are probably 2 of the most fit people at the gym, to be candid. How is your fitness? How have you translated that into your, into everyday living? Like, what has that been like?
I would say, I think, I don't know where I was reading this. Maybe it was, I can't remember where I was seeing this, but it was a blog or something. But like, it was actually in the Daily Stoic. It was this idea about the voice that you hear. Or maybe this was your feed, Michael. I can't remember if yours in the Daily Stoic. I get your email and
they're both good
at the same time. But like this idea of that voice that tells you you can't do something. And so I think one of the things that CrossFit does for me is I get to practice listening to that voice and then not listening to it. And so like, I think it's physical, getting in good shape. I'd like to be in better shape. I've been in better shape at CrossFit, but you go through different stages of your training sort of at CrossFit, ups and downs. But like, I'd say the biggest thing is training your mind to kind of deal with adversity. And so the adversity of a workout, when you're just feeling like, I can't finish this thing, but you still finish the workout, and that's,
knowing you can do it.
So like
just put your head down, it's a chipper, I'll get through this.
And when you're dealing with stuff at home or at work and you're like, I'll get through it. Doesn't mean I'm going to have a personal record here, but I'm going to get through it. So
but there's something to be said about that. Like
absolutely.
like no matter how long this takes me, I'm going to do it.
Absolutely.
I think one of the things too, which is kind of like very different from what you just said, is one of the things that we started doing as soon as Todd joined is paying attention to what we eat. I'd never done that before, Michael, never. And just reading labels on things and saying, what is this that I'm putting into my body? I wish I had done it so much sooner when my kids were little, and paid more attention to that, because what I fed them now growing up, I'm just like, oh boy, but when you know better, you do better. So we eat pretty clean too, and that's been a change that only happened since coming to CrossFit.
So beyond the physical, Todd, you've taken the mental component, or kind of facing adversity or overcoming those challenges, and then Peg, you've implemented, you guys have both, but your thing, Peg, is implementing the nutrition, taking a whole 360 degrees, because it's true, right? You're not just working out, you're improving your mental fitness, your mindset, the nutrition, and then you start looking at the other areas like stress and sleep and all those sorts of things. And I think you guys have taken that full approach, and I think that is a big thing why you guys have been so successful, and just personally, in my opinion, why you've been able to maintain and do this for so long, because you've taken all those things. A lot of people, they'll just do the fitness and then they forget about everything else, but you know, you gotta look at it from that big perspective.
Yes,
I think
it's all.
I think though that we've been a little bit lucky. So one of the things I admire about the people, some of the people at gym, is that, you know, Peggy and I are, you know, our kids are grown; they can take care of themselves. So it's a similar sort of you know, compliment I can give to parents who are dealing with this pandemic. Is like, you know, I talk to people on my team, and it's like little kids, and they're trying to balance everything. It's super hard. But for us to work on those things, whether it's, you know, stress or sleep or mobility, we do ROMWOD every night, you know, working out, all those things. But it's just Peg and I.
Yeah, we're at that point in our, and well, in all our crazy animals. But,
but it's like
the people that are doing this with like kids at home, are starting off their careers and working a gazillion hours. That's hard too. So we're not that you wish to get older, except in the CrossFit Games, so you get the easier workouts. We're entering this different point.
We're lucky enough to be.
We have more time to be able to do it.
So I got a few more questions for you.
Okay, sorry, I'm talking your ear off, Michael.
No. This is great. I love it. So what's next? So do you guys have goals? Are there things that you're working on, or what do you look forward to? What are you focused on from a health and fitness perspective, or just in general? Like, do you guys have any goals that you're looking to accomplish?
Well, so maybe Brendan Sheehan is on this.
Physical goals though?
Well, he said any goals, right? He said
anything that you guys are focused on and that you're looking to improve.
Yeah, I think tying back to the point about, you know, where we are in our age, it's like, you know, we're thinking about what the next 10 years is, you know, like Peggy may be looking at changing careers or doing something different. I'm doing something, you know, what I can do at work, and there's different challenges there. I think from a fitness perspective, I'm kind of stuck a little bit, you know, I think for the first 5 years went really hard. Then I messed up my shoulder, and had to take some time to kind of get back. And now, so I'm kind of in a maintenance mode. So my goals aren't really clear. At CFP, I guess the goal is just keep showing up. So that's kind of where I am with
Not a bad goal.
Yeah.
Not a bad goal.
Yeah.
Consistency.
I have to remind myself that my goal is to be able to walk when I'm 80 years old. That's really, my mom, she's 82 and she's got osteo and a whole bunch of stuff, and she never really took care of herself. And I just don't want that to be me. It may be, but everything that's in my control, I'm going to do something about, and we'll see where I am when I get to be that age. So from a fitness perspective, I always have to remind myself that's what I'm shooting for. And then other than that, it's an I don't know, Michael, like career wise and things of that nature. I'm not really sure what it is. We'll find out over the next couple of years. We'll be sticking around for sure, figuring it out.
Doesn't need to be all figured out, right?
That's good. It's not.
Doesn't need to be all figured out. A lot of people think that has to be all figured out. What I learned recently is no one has it figured out.
No.
Yeah.
Right. We put a lot of added stress on ourselves for that, for really no reason. Last 3 questions. Okay. Spitfire. You guys don't have to be the same answers, by the way.
Okay.
What's your guys' favorite movie or TV show of all time?
Shawshank Redemption. I know everybody says that, but it is the best movie ever.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but I'll have to say this one because I stop on it every time, is Castaway. Like
Love that.
Anytime that movie's on, I stop and watch it.
Or maybe Notting Hill or another rom-com too. Todd loves those.
Thanks, man.
We're being totally honest here. That's
honest.
what I just said to do.
Yeah.
Shawshank and Castaway.
Okay.
Nelson. Favorite musician or music artist of all time?
Good.
Bob Schneider. He's like, that's who I think. What do you think, Todd?
Yeah, up there.
Bob Schneider's this artist from Austin, Texas, who we love. And we actually took a trip down there a couple of years ago and followed him around to all these different places and saw him. And periodically comes up the East Coast and we see him. He's awesome. Look him up on the internet, guys, if you ever. But who are you going to
I was
say?
gonna say probably Wilco. So like Jeff Tweedy and Wilco. So that's probably.
But basically, to any music. I love all music.
Yeah.
So
I like it. That might not be good workout music though.
no,
No.
nope,
Neither of us.
no.
Hang out, relax music.
Yes.
All right. Last thing. What's your favorite thing to do when you're not working out or at the gym? What's your favorite hobby?
I like hanging out with my animals, like taking our dogs for a walk is probably one of my favorite things in the world to do, through the woods.
God, I don't know. I think right now we're just so pandemic focused. So I think it's probably binge watching. You know, we've just been watching.
No, what's your
something.
favorite thing though? Sitting in Manchego having a pegarita.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
pretty nice down in.
I'm pretty good on vacation. I can do that pretty well. But yeah, I think that's one. But I was just gonna say, it's like we just been binge watching a lot of stuff. So that's kind of.
Yeah.
What are you binging right now?
We're going back to Curb Your Enthusiasm. So
love it.
so we're started over on that. But
Yeah.
Yellowstone, a lot of recommendations from people at the gym.
Yeah.
NSP's given us some and stuff. So yeah.
Well, that sounds pretty good. There's your curve for all you guys that don't know. So
I got it.
Yeah, you got it. I saw you. Todd and Peg, thank you guys so much for being part of the community conversation. This means so much to me and everyone at Prototype. And then everyone who's like listening right now, thank you for tuning in and watching. Remember, every week we're releasing a new community conversation with a new guest, maybe guests, to get your week started. So to be the first to know for the new community conversation, subscribe to our YouTube page or join our daily brief newsletter. If you're a member at Prototype, we post these in our members only group on Facebook. So if you're not in there for some reason, just let us know. We'll get you in. And then lastly, if you're interested in being on the community conversation, shoot us a message. We would love to have you. So until next time, thank you guys.
See you,
Bye,
Michael.
everybody.
See you, everybody.